This is a CBS 4 News special report. We are following breaking news right now out of Hollywood, where 6 people were found dead at a nursing home. Let's listen into the press conference.
Healthcare systems that has been helping us with this evacuation this morning. So I'm going to begin by introducing our Chief of Police, Tom Sanchez.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you know, this incident started early this morning when we were dispatched here on a rescue call, and we determined there were several people in need of immediate care. We have found 3 people deceased inside, and 3 others died at Memorial Hospital. 2 being attended to inside the hospital, and one of the evacuees en route to the hospital passed away. At this time, we're conducting a criminal investigation into the matter. We have the Attorney General's office from the state here for Medicare fraud assisting us in the investigation, and also the Agency for Occupational Health that governs these types of facilities, assisted living facilities, here to determine the regulations or any other violations. Right now, this is a criminal investigation. We have 6 confirmed deaths, and I'd like to turn it over now to Dr. Katz, who can speak on the conditions of some of the other patients here.
Can you give your statement in Spanish?
Sí, para ustedes, yo soy el jefe de la policía de Hollywood. Esta investigación empezó hoy temprano por la mañana.
That's Hollywood Police Chief Tom Sanchez. He's now speaking in Spanish, but as you just heard, he confirmed that 6 people confirmed dead as a result of a situation at a nursing home in the city of Hollywood. 3 were found dead inside, 2 died at the hospital, another died en route to the hospital.
And they are making a criminal investigation into this. We're also going to hear from Memorial Baptist Hospital. Dr. Katz is what we were told. More than 100 other evacuees were taken to the hospital. We're going to learn more about their condition. Earlier this morning at another press conference that they held, we were told that many of them are in critical condition. In fact, as Lauren mentioned, one of the evacuees died en route to the hospital. So we're going to listen in and find out more on the condition of the other more than 100 evacuees from the Hollywood Hills Rehabilitation Center.
While we wait for the chief to speak in English once again and to hear from the doctor, we do have a line for family members to call. That number is 954-265-3000. Let's listen now to the doctor from Memorial Healthcare System.
Katz is the medical director for emergency services at Memorial Regional Healthcare.
Is that K-A-T-Z?
It is K-A-T-Z.
Thank you.
R-A-N-D-Y? R-A-N-D-Y, K-A-T-Z.
His title one more time.
Medical director for emergency.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Randy Katz. I'm the medical director of the emergency department at Memorial Regional Hospital. We are located in close proximity to this facility, and we began receiving patients early this morning and quickly identified some issues inside of the facility with fire rescue and immediately evacuated the building. We have a number of patients in our emergency department, and as you know, there have been 6 confirmed fatalities related to this incident. Most of the patients have been treated for respiratory distress, dehydration, and heat-related issues.
Dr. Katz, can you take the question?
We'll take some questions for Dr. Katz afterwards.
Speak Spanish? Thank you. Speak Spanish? No? Okay.
Okay. Now I'd like to introduce our City of Hollywood Mayor Josh Levy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to express my condolences to the families of those deceased today from what occurred here at this rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills. Our hearts go out to those loved ones of those who are deceased. I do want to take this opportunity to announce and alert my fellow mayors across the state governor, and all county administrations to be mindful of the continued hot temperatures in Florida that followed this hurricane, Hurricane Irma. We have temperatures reaching 95 degrees, as you can see as we stand here today, and that means that those homes and business establishments and even critical care facilities, half of our service in Hollywood is still without power. Over 32,000 homes and customers, as of this morning's report, are still without power in the city of Hollywood. I think this is happening as well, we know, throughout the state of Florida. So I'm calling all of my fellow mayors. We're alerting through the Florida League of Cities and through different associations to make a widespread effort for neighbors and residents and governments across the state to conduct a welfare check on elderly residents that you might know, either in your neighborhood that don't have power or at local assisted living facilities or condominiums where you know there's a large concentration of elderly people. They might need water sooner than a younger person would. And so I'd really like, again, to implore upon everyone in Florida to check up on your neighbors, elderly, and do what you can to make sure everybody's okay. Thank you.
Title again, I'm so sorry.
Josh Levy, Mayor of Hollywood.
Speak Spanish, sir?
No.
We'll now open it up to questions, and if you could, one at a time, please. The gentleman in the gray shirt.
Hi, for the police chief, or for anyone that could answer, he's spoken with several family members, and one of them told us that they went to this facility yesterday, and it felt like it was 110 degrees. Why was this facility not evacuated sooner?
I tell you, when we responded there this morning, we became aware of the conditions of some of the patients and immediately took action. Our investigation has revealed that it's extremely hot on the second floor of the facility.
¿Podría decirnos desde cuándo no tienen electricidad?
Were most of the victims on the second floor of this facility?
Okay, over here. Say that again. What was your question?
Were the victims on the second floor of this facility?
I'm not going to be commenting on parts of the investigation right now.
The question was, why was it not evacuated sooner?
One at a time.
Red, please.
Can you clarify the generator issue, or how long there was a generator before it gave out?
Yes, I'm not going to be commenting because that's part of the criminal investigation as to how cool it actually was, whether there was cooling anything, or how many, if any,
But there was a generator
were involved in that.
Chief, how did this happen? Why weren't the patients transferred?
Well, you know, it's a sad state of affairs. You know, we all have elderly people in facilities, and we know that we depend on those people in those facilities to care for our most vulnerable elderly population, and it's really sad when something like this goes on.
Do we know why they weren't transferred?
Sure.
Exactly what time did you get the call? What was the nature of the call? What was the response to the call?
Right.
Exactly what time?
Yes. We responded out here early this morning.
What time?
You know the time?
Yes, around 6 in the morning. And that decision was made once fire rescue started finding other patients in critical need.
Nature of the call. What was the nature of the call?
There was, that one was a heart attack.
Chief, we have a question in Spanish here.
Son varias preguntas, Chief. O sea,
Sí.
¿Desde cuándo no hay electricidad? Si nos podría comentar sobre el generador, que se supone que había un generador funcionando. Y cuando ustedes llegaron, ¿cuántas personas, empleados del lugar, estaban trabajando, estaban en el lugar?
Esa información yo no la voy a discutir ahora.
Police Chief Tomas Sanchez confirming the 6 people that died at the Hollywood Hills Rehabilitation Center, saying there is a criminal investigation. He didn't go too much into detail, saying because there is a continuous investigation, he can't go into further detail. But we did hear also from Dr. Randy Katz from Memorial Regional Hospital. They took all the evacuees from that rehabilitation center because it is in close proximity to the rehabilitation center. Let's listen in to Dr. Katz once again.
Seen from at least a half an hour prior to that.
How many staff were in the building
There
at the
were
time?
others that were in critical condition. How many are in critical right now, and what did you find when you went in there? What were the conditions?
I can't confirm numbers as far as criticality, but we do have at least a dozen other patients in our emergency department right now that we're actively treating.
symptoms did they show? What did you
Right
find
over
when you
here.
walked in there? What were the
One more
conditions?
question over here. I'm sorry.
Potentially.
Doctor, you said there were issues identified quickly inside the building that led to your recommendation and the evacuation. What were those issues?
So fire rescue crews began receiving calls early this morning and eventually identified patients that needed help. In addition to the patients they were called about, at that point early this morning, we activated police, additional fire rescue crews, and an MCI, which is a mass casualty incident, to mobilize resources to help care for these patients. Our hospital is located adjacent to this facility. We were in close proximity, so we responded with over 50 healthcare providers from our hospital to this facility to evacuate all of these patients and get them the help that they needed.
Okay, we have a question here.
Tenemos información de que pudieran haber más muertos, que hay 12 desaparecidos.
No, eso no está correcto. Eso no está correcto.
And you were just listening to Dr. Randy Katz from Memorial Regional Healthcare Center. He mentioned that a dozen patients still remain hospitalized at this time. He could not speak to the criticality of those patients, but the chief did say earlier that several patients were in critical condition at the hospital there after being transported and evacuated from the rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills. We also heard from the Hollywood mayor, Josh Levy, who says he is alerting other mayors all over South Florida, all over the state of Florida, to continue to warn them about these hot temperatures that we are experiencing here. He says if anyone knows of any elderly people, whether they be in a home or in a nursing care facility, to be sure to conduct welfare checks as we continue to deal with these hot temperatures while we don't have power as a result of Hurricane Irma.
And keep in mind, FPL still saying in Miami-Dade 440,000 without power. In Broward, 314,000 without power. So keep that in mind. Check on your loved ones. They believe that maybe the generator gave out. That's why these 100+ people in this rehabilitation center had no air. The doctor saying a lot of them that were taken to the hospital had respiratory, dehydration, and heat-related issues. Let's listen in.
In the city, which accounts for 42 of them, that those inspections will be concluded by 1 p.m. today.
How many patients?
Doctor, if you could please just describe what you saw when you went in there and how you feel about the fact that something like this could have happened across the street from here you are.
Yeah, so this was a terrible incident. The scene was chaotic when I arrived. We had at least 115 patients that we were trying to evacuate and bring them to safety. The fact that it's down the street, you know, we don't have control over what goes on in that facility, but when we were called to help, you know, we mobilized at least 50 to 100 of our employees that left the hospital, ran down the street, and pulled all of these patients out of the facility and made sure that they got to a safe place.
Dr. Katz, Dr. Katz, we have another question here.
Doctor, in your entire career, have you ever seen a situation this dire?
I have. I've seen things in the past that, not this type of scenario, but I've definitely seen mass casualties and things to this extent, but this is something unique, something extremely sad, and extremely unfortunate for the families and the patients.
Chief, quick question for the chief, if I can. I have a quick question for the chief.
Are they able to open the windows? And if so, were the windows open? And if not, why were they not open to allow air to come in? When you open the windows of the facility, does anyone know?
There are some windows that were open, but that's part of our investigation as to, you know, how many windows cannot be open. You know, we know that the facility next door, I made the order to evacuate that facility. It's mental health. There were people with no medical conditions, but because they were locked down and the windows could not open, even though their condition was good, I made the decision to evacuate and lock that building down also.
How many staff members?
I have a quick question.
How many?
With respect to the criminal investigation, sir, what are you looking at here with respect to possible criminal activity?
Well, you know, we've had a number of deaths. That's what we're examining. We're examining all possibilities, you know. So in a case like this, I'm not going to speculate, but obviously there are many factors, as you heard some of your colleagues question. There are many factors that could influence, you know, which way the criminal investigation is going to go. But it concentrates on what was the cause of death of these patients. Right?
How many staff members? How many staff members were in the building?
Came in at 4 o'clock this morning. Why did it take 2 hours for police to finally respond?
We're getting the actual number of when the actual call came down. You know, remember, BSO dispatches for us. Yeah. So I've asked for that printout to get exactly.
The press release said 4 o'clock.
Correct.
And you're saying 6 o'clock is
right.
when people
We're trying to provide you guys the most accurate information at this point.
Could you have done this faster, though? Arrived here?
We don't control dispatch. I can tell you that when my officers first arrived on scene, they quickly made the determination, along with the fire rescue units, to evacuate the facility. And by 7:15, 7:30, we were evacuating the facility. To the question when the call actually came out, there's a dispute between when the call came out. The last report I got from BSO Communications was 6:25 as the dispatch call this morning. which would be in line to, you know, the chain of events that followed.
How many staff members were in the building, sir? Chief, how many staff members were in the building when your people arrived? Were there any staff members in here overnight and yesterday? How many people?
I don't have that information right now.
Was there anybody?
Part of the investigation.
Was anybody here? No, wait a second. Was anybody in this building who works in this building when you arrived?
Yes, there were.
Were there any calls for help prior to today after the hurricane?
We'll be checking on that.
Is carbon monoxide poisoning part of the investigation?
We have not ruled out anything from the investigation.
Sir, exactly how hot was it in there? Do you have any idea?
I'm not going to release those figures, but I can tell you it was very hot on the second floor.
Chief, we know ESF was notified. ESF aide in charge of public health and hospitals was notified by the nursing home, which is required by state to contact the state by statute if there is an issue. Did they get notified at the operations center? What did they do?
Right, that's a good question. I don't know to that, but HACA is here conducting a joint investigation with us as a partner to look at all the agencies that govern these types of facilities. So, you know, the state governs these types of facilities, and we have them here to look at all the regulations where they followed and so forth on these issues. Correct.
Can you tell us in Spanish how many? Thank you, everyone. We've answered a lot of questions right now, and we're going to be providing more updates as we have more information. As you know, this is an active criminal investigation, as well as there are a number of folks that are being cared for critically now at the Memorial Regional Hospital and other memorial healthcare facilities across the city. So we appreciate your patience as we continue to try to answer your questions. And we want to stress one more time the importance for people to check on their elderly neighbors and to make sure that everyone is enduring this heat when we don't have power throughout the city in a good way.
Does anybody need water? Does anybody need water? No?
Chief, were there calls before? Thank you.
We're looking at it.
And the chief of Hollywood Police there, Tomas Sanchez, really expressing it there at the end, the importance of drinking water, staying hydrated and staying cool as we continue to deal with these hot temperatures and the lack of power in the wake of Hurricane Irma. What you just saw there was a press conference with the police chief, the mayor of the city of Hollywood, and a doctor from Memorial Regional Hospital as we learn more about 6 people found dead in relation to an incident at a nursing home in Hollywood.
This is angering and obviously heartbreaking. So we're told that 3 were found dead inside the nursing home. 2 others died at the hospital, and one of the evacuees, because they did evacuate more than 115, the doctor said about 115 others were evacuated. So one of those evacuees died en route to the hospital as well. Now, the reason why Memorial Regional Hospital is taking on these evacuees, it's because it's adjacent to that nursing home in Hollywood Hills. So just such an unfortunate scene. And we're hearing from Dr. Katz that the other evacuees, they had respiratory issues, dehydration, heat-related issues. And for those of you dealing with power outages, you know how hot it is. So this is extremely unacceptable, and that's why there's a criminal investigation into it.
We do want to mention, though, that the rehabilitation facility at Hollywood Hills is not directly partnered with Memorial Regional Healthcare System. So we do want to note that. We also heard from the mayor of Hollywood, who stressed the importance of checking in on those elderly friends and neighbors, or perhaps any nearby facility that you might know of where they are keeping elderly patients there. He also says that he's going to be alerting the mayors of South Florida and the mayors really of all the cities throughout the state of Florida dealing with power outages as a result of Hurricane Irma to make sure that these critical care patients are checked on. He says just in the city of Hollywood alone, there are still 32,000 customers without power. Some of those do include medical facilities. So certainly some important information he wants to get out to his colleagues all over the state.
Now, if you want information on one of your relatives, they did create a number for you. That number is 954-265-3000. You're seeing it on your screen. If you want to check on your families, that is the number to call, 954-265-3000.
Of course, we're going to have a crew on the scene at that nursing home and at several of the different hospitals where these patients are being treated. You can be sure to get the very latest information on the CBS 4 News at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock.